pay attention, if you allow social media to rule, you will easily come to that. You'll easily fall for that perception that the black man and the black women are against each other. Because the way that, you know, people create memes off the stupidest things. People, you know, certain shows, online shows, the way that the media portrays the black family and the dynamic and the breaking down of it and the pulling apart of it, it is very easy. Black men talking about black women who have natural hair. Black men talking about women who wear makeup. Black men talking about women who are single moms. Black women talking about black men not making enough. You have black women who talk about black men who have multiple kids from multiple women. Like, there's so many things that we pick each other up.
Like, it's very vital for us to know how to fucking lead. And if we do not learn how to lead, this empire will soon fall.
Roll me, Mac.
What was the impact of black shows growing up for you? Well, I mean, shows like Cosby Show and A Different World showed a family and a family-oriented environment that I believe a lot of us desire. Well, I know for sure I did. Like watching the Cosbys, and you know what? And honestly, I would say more A Different World for me than Cosby. I didn't really watch the Cosby Show until then. Well, I'll say an ex-girlfriend. She really put me on to watching the Cosby Show. It just started coming out on like DVD, so we used to collect, you know, like the seasons and, you know, just watch them like such. But I mean, I would watch episodes growing up, but not the way I watched Martin. You know what I'm saying? Martin, and which is another black TV show that really influenced me, for good or for bad. I honestly thought that was how a grown man is to carry himself if he were to show, I don't know, that he owns something, but obviously it was for humor and not for like to be taken literally. But I damn sure did try to carry myself like that. I tried to crack jokes like on girls in school. I like Martin would do the Pam. I tried to, you know, tear down my boys the way that he would do it. And, you know, looking back at that, I mean, it made for some good jokes between me and the boys, like, especially like in the military and even high school too, you know. Well, I mean, but honestly, for real, like in the black community, who doesn't know a line from the Martin TV show? Yeah, everybody's got one. But getting back to like the Cosby Show, I saw growing up, I like, you know, with an adult lens, I saw two people that love their kids so much that they invested in their careers, even when they fucked up and they stopped doing their careers. But it showed just a black family doing stuff together, actually communicating. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? So it was cool to see a black family that knew how to communicate with one another, and you had a space to where you could share what was on your mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Now, like Claire Huxtable would tell you what for, but at the same time, she was willing to listen. So, I mean, for those of us who kind of didn't have certain aspects of that in our family, it showed that it was possible even for being a fictitious family. And same for A Different World. I mean, there's so many people that got influence of wanting to go to a black, historically black college because of watching A Different World. For me, it was just about seeing young Jada Pinkett. Young Jada Pinkett, not current, present day Tupac looking Jada Pinkett. I don't find her to be attractive no more. To quote a Martin joke from the TV show, she probably could cut animal crackers with her face. You know what I'm saying? Like sharp. And I like my Jada that had meat on the bone. I'm like, set it off. A low down dirty shame, yes. but definitely Lena on A Different World, yes. Lena on A Different World was a whole other animal that I was just infatuated by as a little boy. You know what I'm saying? So that pushed me like 8, 9. But I just thought Jada Pinkett was like I thought she was really pretty. You know what I mean? I was too young to be thinking sexy, but as a grown man looking back, like Lena was that bitch. But as a little boy, I just really thought she was pretty. I thought she was really attractive. I loved her smile. Still has a great smile. She just is no longer attractive to me. I'll say that. You know, that's nothing personal. Much respect to Will and whatever the fuck they got going on. But like back to the TV shows. You know what I'm saying? You know how I can ramble. But like black TV shows meant a lot, man, especially ones that had messages. Don't get me wrong, it was some that just made us look stupid, but there were I loved how Moesha had the journal aspect of it, you know what I'm saying, from when the show came on and when the show was ending. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching an episode of Doug and how Doug used to journal in the beginning before like as soon as after the credits go, and then like at the end and whatnot. But Moesha had some things that were prevalent in the black community, especially going on in LA, South Central and stuff like that. So it enabled us to see life how that was in LA. Don't get me wrong, like towards the end, it started just getting out of control. And when we found out that Frank was Ray J's characters, which is his nephew, supposedly, in the show, that was actually his real dad. So it was just, not saying that these things don't happen in real life, but it was just, I don't know. To me, it just didn't seem like it had a place there. But like, let's say A Different World, Amen. I mean, for those of us who grew up in church, you know what I'm saying, like could relate to watching Amen. Family Matters. I mean, Family Matters, you could see was like, it was cool to see them do shit as a family, but at the same time, it was a lot of that Full House influence that probably wouldn't go on in a black family, like being able to say, I hate your mom, I hate your dad, without getting your ass handed to you, snatched up, you know what I'm saying, for saying something like that, at least in my home, you know what I'm saying. But it was still, it had its cheesiness to it, but there were some times where they would have like a serious episode, like when Laura bought the gun or whatever, and her friend, the cheerleader, got popped. The same one that was in Boy Meets World. She was bad too. She also was in Friday After Next as one of Pinky's girls. I think her name was Cinnamon. Yeah, Cinnamon is what he called her. But like those episodes where something serious would happen, like when Eddie got jumped by the gangs in Chicago at Rachel's restaurant, and they trashed the restaurant. But we got to see, I mean, for me, it was about seeing black families, representation on TV. And I mean, I look forward to every Friday, TGIF, for Family Matters, hanging with Mr. Cooper, and not saying I didn't watch the white shows, definitely Step by Step. I mean, Cody was funny as shit. It made you want to watch that. Full House, of course. So I think it was Full House, Family Matters, or it was Family Matters, Full House. No, it was Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, and then for a little while it was Perfect Strangers, but then I think they canceled that show, and then they replaced that with, I think, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That was my childhood, you know what I'm saying, as far as like TV goes. But the Cosby Show was definitely an influence on me. One as an adult for sure. like seeing this, like, man, I can imagine like being a kid and seeing this influence of a family, like wanting to do like the things they used to do for anniversaries, like a family that actually celebrates their key members of the family's like accolades of make a key point in life, where you got like the the golden anniversary, where I think it was 60, no, 450, whatever the number was, but like them celebrating that anniversary as a family, celebrating birthdays as a family. And so it was cool to see that, envious of it too, you know what I mean? Not to say that my family doesn't do it all, I mean, we damn sure don't do it all the time, or not saying that we don't do it ever, but something that I think would be that'd be a dope way to bring like people together. It's just the reason for family to come together is to recognize that this person is valued on this day that they were born. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. That's how I think about it. But I want to really just hit key points on the Cosby Show, A Different World. I mean, Different World, like really seeing like going to college, what that looked like. And you had various characters that you had the spunky kind, you know what I'm saying, Freddie, you had the very intelligent and Kim, you had the snobby and Whitley, you know what I'm saying, and then of course the brains of Dwayne Wayne, and even Ron, you know what I'm saying, being a math, like him having like that, the brains for math and all that stuff. And then Sinbad's character being an influence, Don Lewis's character, Jaleesa being an influence on like being older than everybody else that was there, you know what I'm saying, like one of them older college attendees. And Mr. Gaines, the knowledge that Mr. Gaines would like kick to like everybody that would come to, you know what I'm saying, like down there to eat at the in the cafeteria. And then of course like starting to incorporate a little bit of that hip hop too. Of course, one of my favorite episodes is when Tupac was up there, and just I'm just saying, just like seeing Pac, it was so cool just to watch him actually act though. But not only could he, obviously, he did music, but like he did acting just as well as he did music. So I thought that was pretty dope to see somebody with my skin tone that could do both, you know what I mean? But it taught that episode in particular, talking about like moving away from like essentially the hood and growing and trying to better yourself, and then the crabs in the barrel thing of people seeing you kind of better yourself and then they want to pull you back in, and it happens to some of us, you know what I'm saying, none of it necessarily for the hood, but just people just used to you being a certain way, and when you decide to better yourself, their insecurities come out because you're trying to better yourself, and as if you, and then them making it about them and feeling some type of way because you decided to better yourself. And I mean, like I said, that's something that happens when people get spiritual awakenings, people go to college, people get job offers, people get married, people have kids, those different things, like you're shaking up what they're used to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like seeing that. I mean, that's all I got. I mean, that's one of the many things that I got from watching that particular episode. But I mean, black TV shows, they used to mean something to, they really did mean something. And now we're moving more so into like reality shows. And I don't really think they highlight anything beneficial, to be honest. Like Love and Hip Hop, any of them reality shows, I don't see. I mean, it's you have some upside where they showed like them doing businesses, but then that drama shit. But I mean, that's what sells though. You know what I'm saying? Like the business, the business side, like showing the business, like them creating their own businesses and all that stuff is dope. But the unnecessary drama, but I mean, that's the selling point, I believe. But like that part, it doesn't really put us in a good light. And I think that for the last 20 years, it's kind of been that way. Like Flavor of Love, you know what I mean? I Love New York, and you know what I'm saying? Like various reality shows that have made it to mainstream that was more in pop culture than other reality shows that were probably more beneficial from an educational standpoint and showing us in a higher light. They tend to show the ignorant side of us. That's just my opinion on it. So I tend not to watch that type of shit no more, even though it was very entertaining back in the day. Like Scrappy saying, I want to put them paws on them, to me, and Stevie J always making that weird ass smile at the camera, like the confession booth. That shit. But now, like, I just don't, I find myself watching the diet that I keep, you know what I'm saying, for myself when it comes to television. But truthfully, black TV shows growing up, you know what I'm saying, for at least for me and my family, I would say Cosby Show, A Different World, some like early on Moesha, and but mainly, like I said, mainly those shows I would find to be very beneficial and very influential with wanting to go to a black college, as well as wanting to see a black family that kind of, again, just took care of each other.
Hey, what up, everybody? Yeah, do me a favor real quick. Just hit like, subscribe, and of course comment if you have anything, obviously to mention about.
What are your thoughts on male portrayals in chick flicks? I believe that the male portrayal in chick flicks is not so much authentic as it could be. That's just me. Happened to watch a chick flick recently. I just happened to watch a chick flick recently and seeing the pedestal talk, love bombing, and in the psychology world and mental health world, love bombing, and just putting this particular character on a pedestal, and then having to watch this very same person turn into the monster right before your eyes. And that's not to say that these things do not happen. It's just how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like the delivery, I believe the delivery in the film, it was more like making it out to look like an accident, right? But then switching the lenses later on, which really didn't make that much, to me, it didn't really make that much sense. To me, it didn't really make that much sense to do so. I would rather just show how vile that it is, you know what I'm saying? Like in a situation, not to switch it. I don't want to give spoilers away for anybody who may want to see this particular movie, but for those of us who have seen, I think you know what I'm talking about. But like the male portrayal is to, it panders to what a woman would want to say. I mean, it's a chick flick, so I mean, what the fuck you expect? But I don't necessarily care for false hope in film. You know what I'm saying? Like when presenting something to an audience, because depending on what you put in the film, that's how a person's going to interpret what this person does or what this thing does. You know what I mean? Like when you show a movie about, like with black folk, and you show us just being downright ignorant, like throughout the whole movie, just making dumbass decisions, saying stupid shit. What do you think they're gonna portray us as? You know what I'm saying? Like representation is very, very key. It's very, very, very much matters, at least to me. But like another, these are church lady chick flicks, but like Tyler Perry has this tendency of making a dark-skinned man look like a fucking monster and then the woman has a horrible ass attitude. The black woman has a horrible ass attitude in these movies. You know what I'm saying? And then she treats the light skinned Captain Save-A-Ho character like shit until the end of the movie, when she realizes that her family is the reason why she, the trauma that she sustained from family and, previous relationships is the reason why she does what she does. And then they ride off into the to the sunset. But like, it's the same song and dance for like the last, I don't know, he started in 2005 with his first movie, and then leading into the most recent movie in Amazon. Like, just portraying these characters as like devils, if you will, just downright horrible people. And the male portrayal, like, it's, don't get me wrong, there are some people that got issues. They really do got issues, and they try to project that onto to their mates and all that stuff. But like, from a chick flick standpoint, we know that there's a formula. And I don't necessarily agree with the formula that's being used in certain chick flicks, as far as like putting a woman down, putting a woman on a pedestal and making a man making himself small so that she can feel big type thing. I'm not necessarily okay with such. And I think the reason for that is because that's what I used to do. I used to do that shit like before I came across some recent knowledge as far as like valuing myself, number one, but I can also value you as a woman, you know what I'm saying? But treating you as human, not treating you as if you are God or a God, you know what I mean? And that's what I kind of got from that whole, this particular formula for this movie. It just seemed like the character was putting this individual on a pedestal, going from the play, like, you know what I'm saying, like the very promiscuous guy, player, whatever you want to call it, and then to meet this individual and just find himself just so enamored by her, and then showing the signs of crazy, which, that part I don't think is is too far off, but I think was more like how they did it that did it for me. And because for me, as a man watching this movie, and unbiased now, I'm just looking at it from literally what you show me. They're all accidents. This is what it looked like. All these incidents that were going on in this particular film, they came across like accidents. But we would learn later on that this was that Stockholm syndrome, right? I think they call it dramatic irony, where the audience knows something that the kind of like the actors don't necessarily know. And but it was switching the lenses, and then it's like, oh, now we're painting this person as this particular like monster or whatever. Don't get me wrong, like that scene, like one of the scenes that's the obvious scene that's like, yeah, this is definitely taking a turn for the worse. But the ones prior to that, it was like, oh, okay. You could see a lot of stuff early on, like frustration and aggressiveness. To me, those are red flag signs within any person, not just a man, but I was saying women too. When there will be no violence tolerated, period. Not anymore, that's for sure. Like seeing a person get violent is the inability, it's emotional immaturity to me, and the inability to control one's emotions. And you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has to grow. Like I said, there's no judgment per se, but you have to know for yourself. You're not able to change them, but you can work on what you tolerate in your life for your own mental health. It's not your job to teach someone how to manage, you know what I'm saying, their own insecurities. That's not for you to do. But like the portrayal that that to make men look like monsters in the chick flicks. I mean, and just listening to more so how like in crowds and stuff like that, like the audience, and hearing like women's responses to these films is also enlightening too. But I just believe that formula doesn't it's not authentic, you know what I mean? But I mean, I guess I could say that, but also watching action films and kung fu movies is not like an actual fight too. So so another hypocrite moment for sure. But like I just don't care too much for certain portrayals. Like if you're going to like make something, to me, to make a film, especially about love, like there's this TV love, and then there's love in reality, and a lot of us are not able to separate the two. So we spend a lot of our life trying to find Disney World in real life from people. So one, we got expectations, and two, we're not really learning how to love somebody. We're just looking for what the fuck we liked in a movie, and upset when we don't find the shit, and understanding that that's not how this necessarily works, especially for like with us men, you know what I mean? Like looking for love the way that we think love is, and it's nothing compared to what I believe we were taught growing up as far as like how love looks when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the same sex for some, you know what I mean? But like it doesn't look to me, I would learn that it did not look for me the way that I envisioned it. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. It's a learning lesson. It was something for me to grow from, like to see that. But like, I say, closing off on the topic, I believe that, especially like if you're making a chick flick and wanting a woman to get some type of reaction, I guess it's just, hell, maybe it's just that. We'll call it like that. Maybe chick flicks are like action movies for men. And, obviously this shit isn't really gonna happen, but it's entertaining. It gets a reaction out of people. So yeah, that's me being a hypocrite, to criticize chick flicks movies, but yet be okay with seeing Steven Seagal kick somebody's ass with a beer gut. What was your first car? My first car was Lucille, and it was a 87 Taurus. I got Lucille from my Uncle Kevin, God rest his soul. He sold me that car for $800. So I saved up all my McDonald's money. I think my mom probably helped me with that too, but I saved up my McDonald's money so that I could get the car. And we had to drive it back from Salisbury, which is where my grandmother lives, Sarah Long, shout out to her and everybody there, you know what I mean? But yeah, I got that car, and it wasn't perfect, but it was durable. It was durable. And like when I would drive it, when it would hit 15 miles an hour, we get kind of stuck, and then you get like a jolt in the back, that would kind of shoot you forward, and then it would just operate normally. But I mean, I had something I could ride around and listen to music, and it was mine. So I mean, don't get me wrong, it came with a fair share of wear and tear repairs that came with it, and it wasn't my intent to rhyme the way I just did. But yeah, my first car, Lucille, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun in that car. It was cool to be able to drive to work, drive to school, and at least for senior year. And but it was mine, you know what I mean? So like I said, I've had had some issues with it. It would get kind of smoky. That's what tripped me out the first time driving it. Not the first time. Well, the first time seeing smoke from me driving it, and you thinking that where there's smoke, there's fire, thinking that the car's gonna like explode or something like that. But it's not. I think it's like that AC. You know how like the AC condensation or whatever that comes through. But no, my shit was smoking. So I was able to drive that, and it's just got the memories with it. But I appreciate my like I said, my parents being able to kind of work that out for me. You know what I mean? Humble beginnings of having that '87 Ford Taurus. But Lucille, that was my baby. That was my first baby. Made room for some other females that I used to drive. But none more than the first baby, Lucille. Why do you believe male bonding is so important to the development of men? Oh man, I don't know if we have enough time to really discuss this, but I want to reach out to my men. First off, I love you. I value you, men. I'll say that again. I love you and I value you, men. You know what I'm saying? Like, our presence, our power is so fucking vital to the continuation of life here, especially in America, as far as like how we engage with our families, engage with our children, engage with our women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very vital for us to know how to fucking lead. And if we do not learn how to lead, this empire will soon fall. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, let's just go for starters. Let's talk about the election climate, okay? Let's talk about the first debate. I'm not here to pick a side. I'm not here to make you know what I'm saying, be pro-Republican, pro-Democrat. But I just want you to look at life as a leader of another country who wants to see the number one country in the world fall. How confident would you be, if you were the leader of another country and you saw those two old men? One has decided to step down, and we're waiting on the other one to roughly do the same, because I'm trying to understand why these old ass men want to run a country that they probably won't be alive to see at this age. You know what I mean? Like late 70s, you know what I mean? Go travel, go relax, you know what I'm saying? Go to Bora Bora. I'll meet you there. We can talk that. But Biden would probably stop in mid-sentence like he did for the fucking election. He just stopped talking. He's that old. You know what I mean? So imagine looking at a country who, these are your choices for leadership. Would you have respect for them? Would you feel confident enough that you could take them down at some point in time? Because that's what's essentially, I can see that happening. And if we don't learn how to lead, we're fucked. And the same thing goes for us as men. So that's why it's important for men to bond, in my opinion, for us to come together and kind of let iron sharpen iron. And we can just talk amongst each other, reveal said weaknesses in a trusted environment amongst men. You hear me? Amongst the men, all right? Like, my stance is this, and I stand by this, you know? When you are with your boys, you can be boys and learn how to be like, you know, and obviously share different masculine skills and traits that we can bounce off of, right? And we can learn from. But when you are with a woman, you better be a fucking man. If you really want to be respected, truthfully, whether that be by other men or you're a woman and other women, you want to carry yourself like a man, as a man, as a man. When you're with a woman, you must lead, man. And it's challenging. Don't get me wrong, because especially like for us men, like when we truly love a woman, we act like a fucking boy. It's like a dog, you know what I'm saying? Like when a dog sees its owner, the one that it's loyal to, oh, it's just full of joy and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that don't show joy to your woman. I don't want to get misconstrued here on what I'm saying, but what I am telling you is my thoughts is to hold frame. Okay, hold masculine frame when you are with your when you're with your woman or with your family. And men, choose women that value a man in his masculine frame, because there's too much going on. There's too much responsibility out here to have to fight when you come through the fucking door with a woman when you've already had to fight outside. What you want is to choose women that complement your life, not complicate, not bring unnecessary drama to your life. It's already challenging for you as a man out there, especially a black man. You know what I mean? Like when you are out there in the world and you're not valued. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at, like they look like you are looked at as whatever, you know what I'm saying? Something in a derogatory sense, and just not even considered human, just not valued, you know what I mean? But you have to carry yourself in a means that is respected. And that's what's so great about having a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? And not talking like the toxic, like how we say about the sisterhood and shit like that. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have a group of women that are there for one another, but we're talking about the ones that don't take accountability for action and just do fuck shit and come to the defense of fuck shit. But like seriously, a brotherhood that is there to hold men accountable when they fuck up, when they do shit that doesn't necessarily benefit their families, when they do things like holding people accountable for the things that they say, holding people accountable for the things that they do, and learning how to be men. You know what I'm saying? Better men each day. Learning more about masculinity. Like again, and then understanding the climate that we're in as far as dating or just relationships in general when dealing with today's woman. You know what I mean? Having an understanding of female nature so that you can, one, learn how to love them, learn how to carry yourself. Number one, love yourself, but number two, learn how to love them by understanding female nature. And I'm grateful for the lessons that Rollo Tomasi or Richard Cooper or, you know what I'm saying, like a lot of guys in the manosphere, the godfathers of it, like what they somewhat teach to us who maybe didn't grow up with a masculine, figure to follow, who just didn't know, you know what I'm saying? A male figure who just did not know and also was never taught these things. But the beauty of books, the beauty of listening to other people's accounts of things is that you can learn and you can grow from these things, which I think is so dope. And I pride myself on learning every fucking day how to be a better man than I was yesterday. That is my only competition, the man that I was yesterday. And at the end of the day, looking back, what could I have done better in that moment, trying to sharpen my my brain, you know what I mean, to make better decisions. But the benefits of having that brotherhood is that you get to share your your not so proud moments and be like, oh yeah, I remember doing that too. This is what I did in that situation, so this is what I would do. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you this is what I did. This is what I would have done in that particular thing. So now you get different perspectives from men who are on the same path as you. You know what I mean? And they're not looking at it from a female's perspective. They're looking at it from a male's perspective. You know what I'm saying? So to have that type of 1, leadership, 2, brotherhood, and 3, camaraderie, and just being able to share different mindsets and perspectives that allow men to be better is a thing of beauty. And it makes us more emotionally intelligent, and just strong in the mind, so that when we encounter different shit that goes on in life, we are essentially better for leadership. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want an emotional leader to make a decision, especially with their hands on the fucking button that could end life itself. You want somebody that's more poised, that's gonna make a logical decision. You know what I mean? And I believe that working on and studying like the aspects of masculinity on a day-to-day basis will make men a hell of a lot better for, let's say, the military, on the job, but especially for your family and dating. You know what I mean? Like, learning how to lead, man. Like, it's so vital. It's very vital. And one of the number 1 complaints that I get just in conversation with women is our inability to lead. All right, the inability to trust that you got us. You know what I'm saying? That your ability to take care of shit. Seeing women shake their heads and just say, "Oh, I gotta do every fucking thing," and all that stuff. And since you got your degree, you know, and you know every fucking thing. It's my precious moment right there. But seriously, like, not knowing how to essentially just take charge of stuff, and not in a manner that is like just so machismo shit, but being calm. You know, being calm enough to lead, being assertive, not being aggressive. Save that for the bedroom. But when you're handling business out there, being assertive, being able to step up, all right, like, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, this is how we're doing it, and having that courage and that confidence to do it. It comes with time. The more you do something, the better off you get. I mean, the more you do something, the better you get at it. You know, practice makes progress. But you gotta have the courage to step out there and be like, hey, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to change the narrative. I'm gonna change the game, and I'm going to become this person. So when you have that brotherhood, like, you know what I'm saying, and like the development of man, it makes such a world of a difference in the mindset of a man, and trying to better oneself, learning to like really reading. You know what I mean? Like, I would, like, if teenage me saw a present day me with all these books that I love to read and knowledge that I like to absorb, he'd probably laugh his ass off, because I could probably count on 2 hands how many actual books, be it fictional, non-fictional, and most of them had to do with Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson in video games. But like, I wouldn't read. I just wouldn't. I just didn't read. I didn't see the benefit of it. But now, shit, man, like, I realized that the things that the world, I would say the world, I wouldn't play a victim or nothing like that, but common things to manage the world and like make you, I would say, stronger and a better warrior mentally for the world are in the books. So once I understood that, I started to read a hell of a lot more. And reading, especially on mental health and psychology, helped me to understand my family so that I can love them better, whether that be from afar or whether that be in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it taught me how to love myself better, number 1, and then it taught me how to love my family better, and how to accept what I'm not able to control, because I was trying to control shit for the longest, and that's a trauma response. But how do you learn that? Reading, reading, going to therapy, various things. And that's another thing for men to do. Go to therapy. I recommend, I'm not telling you, but I recommend going to therapy and like seeing how did you become you? You know what I mean? In ways that you can create a new, a more updated you, like getting an iOS update. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to the newest iOS update for Rome that's coming. You know what I'm saying? Just like from soaking up knowledge from the people around me. But that brotherhood, I can tell you, a part of me believes that I would not be sitting here right now had it not been for the brotherhood that I've created, the tribe that I've created of men that are on similar paths of, you know, being on their purpose and just being able to share our perspectives with one another, because iron sharpens iron. And very grateful for that love, man. That love that is given, you know, that we do, whether we're talking music, whether we're talking, you know, just life itself, how to be, you know, better providers, how to be better fathers, how to be better men, brotherhoods, you know what I'm saying? Like those type of brotherhoods. Like I said, I'm very grateful for that. And you know what I'm saying? And the men I meet along the way. I was very fortunate enough to see a lot of men and pieces of them that I was able to draw from to become a better man for myself, man. I can't thank my father enough for the stuff that he's shown me to do and not to do. My uncle for sure. And then of course my brothers who were, you know, I got to see be parents around me and leaders for their families, and men that I knew growing up, you know, like in the neighborhood. Mr. Harris and Mr. Ronnie, a lot of fathers that I got to see. You know what I'm saying? I got to learn from. I got to pick brains, and it was. I mean, even like I said, pastors too. You know, church leadership, and seeing them lead a flock, and it was just beneficial to see. As a young boy trying to grow up and learning how to trying to figure this life shit out, and then becoming an adult and realizing that they're still trying to figure shit out too. They just been doing it a hell of a lot longer, so it looks like they know what they're doing, but they're taking it day by day just as much as we are. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty dope. But yes, brotherhood, very important. I don't know how long I've been talking. It's just been talking. So these are topics that I can just talk about forever. That's why I said how much time I got. But like I said, brotherhoods, fellas, find a brotherhood that you can trust, that you can share ideas, you can help better one another, and yeah, let's be better, man. Let's just be better about leading, learning from our mistakes, being accountable for them, and yeah. Just stand up. Iron sharpen iron. Who taught you how to be in a healthy relationship? Books. Books and being in unhealthy relationships. If anything, I laugh, but I'm so sincere. You know what I'm saying? Being in toxic ass relationships, seeing, you know, and finding toxicity to be normal, thanks to you know, what you witnessed growing up, a few things that you saw growing up, and like, as far as I know, what it meant to talk things out, it meant who could scream the loudest at one another, like not knowing how to manage your emotions, and seeing that you didn't have to yell at one another to get your point across. That's one of the things I got from reading books and obviously watching like clips and shit like through YouTube and maybe even therapy. I would probably say I learned more. Don't get me wrong, therapy I find to be beneficial, but the most that I really learned from was YouTube. YouTube is a university for me. I use it to really just educate myself on a day-to-day basis, but like I would say reading books, Four Agreements, Mindset, Carol Dweck, Brené Brown, like a lot of those books really showed me like, oh, okay, you don't have to lose your shit on somebody to make a point. You don't have to throw a tantrum, if you will, when you're talking to somebody. And that's what I would do. I would throw tantrums. I'd there's no in between. Like, I either was really, really quiet, which is a trauma response, or I was really, really loud and aggressive, which is also my trauma response of trying to be heard. I didn't feel heard, so I screamed the loudest, barked the loudest, and it's a snap movement. You know what I mean? And I do my best to not get there. I would say that my emotional maturity has, my emotional intelligence has definitely matured for the best over the years. Learning to just be more mindful that everything is not about me, and that comes with practice. I'll say that it definitely comes with practice, because I didn't always have that mindset. And the real challenge is being involved, being involved in relationships, and not treating a woman like that's your mom. You know what I mean? So, the last few years has taught me a lot as far as, like, again, that healthy relationship. The number one key thing that I keep in mind, and a reminder, so when I know that my inner child is driving the car and not present day adult me, is when I try to project my insecurities, or if I try to think somebody is responsible for my happiness. When I feel those emotions, when I feel those feelings coming in my head, I have to detach and take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, our thoughts they just float. You know what I mean? You don't have to grab them and attach them and pull them in. But those thoughts, they can come through or whatever. It's fine, as long as you don't attach yourself to them. Just let them be thoughts. Let them move like ships in the night. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of helps me on a day-to-day basis. But I would say that what really taught me to be for healthy relationships with the people around me, was more so books, holding myself accountable, seeing that I was the problem in my development, and even the problem that I was for my family. Don't get me wrong, I was kind of essentially made this way, but I'm too old to point blame elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not about blame anymore. It's about acceptance, and then doing better going forth. So, like, when I learned how to communicate a little bit better, when I learned how to be self-sufficient and not make anyone responsible for me, a lot of most of the stuff that I used to trip about, I solved it for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to know that I'm responsible for my own happiness, I don't allow myself to get into certain conversations, confrontations, positions that's going to have me in an unnecessary debate, argument, quarrel, fight, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm mature enough to manage my own thoughts, manage my own emotions. And that's literally, I would say, more than half the battle, is recognizing those emotions and not allowing yourself to get there, man. And then remembering the stoic question to ask yourself when shit is done and shit is said. Is it the truth, or is it nonsense? If it's the truth, why am I upset? And if it's nonsense, then why am I still upset? And once I saw that shit, it very well made me a hell of a better person for myself, and calm my nerves and unnecessary, suffering from unnecessary imagination of, thoughts of the mind, assumptions, not taking shit personal. So throwing a little bit of Don Miguel Ruiz's for agreement points, like, they really just helped me see what healthy was and what unhealthy, seeing the difference between what I believe is unhealthy and healthy. So I would say definitely reading books, studying from mentors that are in psychology, that follow self-care and things like that. That I would say that's what probably taught me to be in a healthy relationship.